This is Don the Diecast Pirate, and today we're going to work on the 55 subscriber special. And this is based on a car. It was a race car in the 1970s that my dad worked at two local racetracks, and the one racetrack was a dirt track. And this car, it was white, had blue from number 55. There was no sponsors on it that I remember, but we're going to do my best to replicate the car that I remember when I was a kid. Now, the original car, I liked it because it was winning races every week. And one week, it got rolled and wrecked, and it never raced again. So I just want to reproduce the car that I remember from my childhood, and we'll see how we get there. Alright, so it rolls pretty good on the green wheels with the green windows and everything. But those are going to have to go. Alright, so I've already drilled the post to save time. See how easily this will come apart now. I do have my special tool here that I bought just for this. There we go. So we got that going on there. We have the interior. And I like how they made the mold so it makes the roll cage, but we're going to have to see if we can do something a little different very carefully. Maybe we'll try to do something with that, maybe we won't. I don't have a backup car for this if I screw it up, so we'll have to be careful with what we do with that. And then we have the base. I have some ideas for what to do with that. Get rid of those wheels. This green glass is going to be gone because this was a dirt track car, and dirt track cars didn't have windows. They had a screen over front of the window where the driver sits to protect them from debris getting in, but on a dirt track, you know, the windshields would get all muddied up and they wouldn't be able to see out of them. Alright, so this is what I'm kind of thinking. I have a couple different thicknesses of styrene here, and I was just kind of looking at them to see where the one that's white is a little bit thinner than the part of this wheel that goes inside the tire. This one's a little bit thicker. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to work on this off camera and see what I can come up with. Alright, so what I'm using here to strip my cars is Rust-Oleum aircraft paint stripper. I have drilled and tapped a lot of cars and put screws in them in anticipation of restorations, customs, and I had bought this tap from Bright Vision and I had never used it, and recently I was watching Paul over at Fat Guy Productions, and he's actually using those, and he said he really liked it a lot better than just putting the screws in. So we'll give it a shot. Let me get this opened up here and we'll see how this works. So this is what it comes with. It comes with both of the drill bits that you need for it. It comes with the tap, and it comes with the handle, and there you go. So a quick reference, if you haven't seen my other video, I kind of put the tape on there so it goes, hard to see, so it goes past is longer than the screw, so the screw won't bottom out in the hole. And also the tape on there, if you line it up with your post, if the tape touches before the drill bit does, you know you're not going to bottom out. If the drill bit touches the inside of your casting, your car, before the tape touches the post, then you know you either have to go with a shorter screw or maybe not use a screw at all. So there's that little tidbit. 3-in-1 oil. You don't have to use a real heavy oil on this. Just enough to lubricate it so it's going to cut easier, and it's not going to wear out your tool prematurely or possibly break it, because I guarantee you don't want to break one of these off inside that hole. Okay, so this is the first time I've ever used one of these, so here we go. Let me rephrase that. It's not the first time I've ever used a tap. It's the first time I've ever tapped a hole this in one of these cars. I just took that handle out because it was kind of getting in the way. It felt like it was going to start going crooked, and I didn't want it to do that, so I went ahead and pulled that handle out. So I'm only using slight finger pressure to turn this, so it doesn't take a whole lot. I don't want to over torque it once it bottoms out in the hole. I know from experiences that these smaller taps can break easily, so I just want to make sure that I'm being careful with it. And that did go really smoothly. I'm going to go ahead and test fit these parts together. And one thing that I did anticipate and will be somewhat of a problem, which can be overcome, is that if you just put this interior in here without this glass in, it's going to rattle around in there. So I think what I might have to do is, how this fits together, is we're going to have to take this front part here below the windshield and the back part and actually attach those to the interior. So when we put this up in there, it's going to hold it in place the way it should be. For right now, we're just going to leave that intact. I just want to see how this is going to fit together with the screws. Now, I did anticipate as well possibly needing to use some washers, and that went in a lot easier than using the screws to tap the threads. And just looking at the end of this screw now, it is not a self-tapping screw, so you know, while you can get it started up in there and it will go in, because this die-cast metal is easy to cut threads in, you don't want to skip that tapping phase, because that's a very good useful tip to have and a good thing to do. So that fits very well with those washers on there, so we will have to assemble that with those. And I think for right now I'm going to call this a night, and we'll get back on this tomorrow, because it is very late. I'm getting tired. I just want to get a quick look at what these might look like in here. And there we go. Get my fingers out of the way. What do you think of that, guys? Alright, we'll get back at it tomorrow. So I got the body all stripped down in the base as well, getting ready for paint on that. I went ahead and modified those windows so the interior fits nice inside between. The spacing is correct for it and everything. Okay, so the tires and wheels for this car interchange on some of the Johnny Lightning cars that you can buy in the store and build. Since I couldn't find one today, I decided to go ahead with my original plan when I first looked at this, and that is, I have these squares cut that approximately are the size of the outside of this, and I went ahead, I have this really thin styrene, and I cut squares and super glued them together, so it's about the thickness of that. And then I have these other ones that are smaller. I did the same thing where there's two pieces sandwiched together, and I believe I can grind those down to be about the same diameter. Now, that being said, this is my plan. Whether it works or not is another story. Oh, and before I start this, when I was at Walmart today, I went and looked in the craft section, and I found these 2-inch head pins. Because I don't have any piano wire to make my own axles, and if I can pick it up here, this is what they are. So they have, a little head on them, and on one end, and then you can cut them to whatever length you need. It's gonna work. And this axle will fit right in there perfectly. Now, let me pull that back out of here for just a second. So that's what I did. I ended up using the nail file instead of the mini grinder because it was actually melting the plastic instead of just grinding it off. Where this, I was able to just, fine tune each piece down into a circle and then super glue them together. And I got my little drill bits out, used the 1/32 in my drill here, and I found the center of the hole, or the center of where I wanted to put it with this, marked it, and drilled it out. Put this in here. Now these do have a bit of a burr on the inside, and I filed it off a little bit. So I'm getting ready for paint here, and I'm going to put down this gray Stone Rust. I've used it once before, and it's really good stuff. And then because this race car that I'm building this after was white, I'm going to use the white from the Redline shop. Alright, it's been a few days since I worked on this car. I had to finish up my restoration of the Ramblin' Wrecker there, and I'd actually started these both at the same time and painted them both at the same time because I was using the same color. I actually had to strip and repaint this one too. Talk about these a little bit if I haven't already. So I layered 2 pieces of the flat styrene, and I was looking at a way to space these out. I had cut some strips of styrene down to various sizes and was looking at building out the wheel wells on the inside and just making it thicker. And I came upon the idea of taking a paper clip. Thank you, Diecast Graveyard, for giving me the idea to buy paper clips. I just held it in my little vise, which you've probably seen in other videos, and I took a pair of needle nose pliers and just twisted it around, and then I held it and cut it and then finished the circle. Now when these go on, I've already test fitted them and everything, and it's perfect. Here's the wheels for it, and all I did with this is I took 2 popsicle sticks and some painter's tape and taped them together, and then I got the little clamps so they stand up like that, which is perfect for painting. The inside hubs, I have this flat black Testors paint. I believe I'm going to use that on those. Here's the bottom of the car. Again, taking a page from Jim Silva's book and use the silver Sharpie to detail out the exhaust and the gas tank, which in all honesty in a race car there would be a fuel cell. I made some decals, and this was my first attempt. I think they actually came out pretty decent. I think not having a picture of the car anymore, I have to go off my memory, and I had to find a font that would spark my memory, and this is the closest thing I could find without spending days and days and days looking through fonts. I don't have time for that. There's no livery or decals for a sponsor on this car. If I remember correctly, this car didn't have a sponsor. It may have, but I don't remember the sponsor. What I remember is a white 65 Galaxie with a blue 55 on it, winning races every week until the race that it rolled in, and it was never at the racetrack again. That's what I remember. So let's get on with this. I suppose I could be talking. I'm just looking to line up just where it curves on the 5s with that door line on both sides. That way it should be sitting pretty straight, and it looks like it is to me. I think that's looking pretty good. A couple more details I got to come up with real quick. Here's the interior, detailed out that fire extinguisher. I went ahead and painted the control box black. I'm going to go ahead and measure the fabric for the windshield off of this. I'm going to cut it bigger. In the late 1970s, there was a little boy whose dad worked at a racetrack, and he picked out a car that he loved because this car won races week after week after week. And one week, the car rolled in a race. There was a wreck, big wreck. The car rolled, it went over 2 or 3 times, and the car never came back to the racetrack again. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a 1965 Ford Galaxie in white with a blue 55 to celebrate 55 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So we got the blue 55s, we got the white steel wheels, we blacked out the grille, blacked out the taillights. It has a screen in place of the windshield because that's what dirt track cars do, and it has the window net. Underneath, we have the exhaust, a little bit of the undercarriage, and the gas tank detailed out. I don't know if you can notice, I also touched the hub or the lug nuts there. Didn't do the hood pins because I don't remember that car having hood pins. So let's get this up on the turntable and take a look at it. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Be sure to click the like, leave a comment down below, and ring the bell for notifications. Coming up next month, mid-March, we have the St. Patrick's Day build off with Diecast Graveyard. We have another build coming up for the Diecast Mafia. Got the car all picked out for that. We also have a Porsche build for Andrew over at Maple Leaf Matchbox Makeovers. I think there's around 30 people or more building cars for that. I'm going to announce something for my 100 subscriber special in that video. So Be sure to watch my videos. Let me know in the comments what you think. It's been a long time since I've seen this car in all its glory. There's the money shot. Just as a reminder, here's what we started with. Treasure hunt car, green, green wheels, green flames, green windows, gray interior. As always, this is Don the Diecast Pirate, and I'll see you next time. Don't get super glue on your mat. It's not a good thing. Back to plan A. You say, well, what's plan A? Plan A is the stuff that I was used for the grill on the Bullet Mustang. That's what plan A is. Oh, don't move around now. It's a bad thing when it moves. No fuzzies, okay? No fuzzies.